It's been a minute, but I'm back in it. Come on, y'all. I got something to say. Come on, y'all. I got something to say. Come on, y'all. It's right this way. Come on, y'all. I got something to say. Come on, y'all. It's right this way. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Bubbles and Sauce. I am Angie, and I'm hoping that this video meets you in a very good place. Well, today, meet my pretty. Say hi. Oh, okay. Girl, you can't get in the camera. Get down, Nani. Get down. You can't get up there like that. All right, mama. Anyway, so I know I'm supposed to be doing like a channel introduction, what this channel is all about and what have you. And quite frankly, I'm not sure where the direction of this channel is going. See you later, mama. Of where the channel is going. But in the meantime, I'm going to be pushing out some content. Now, I know in my last video, I mentioned that I was going to be doing some cooking tutorials, and I actually do have them. And take a look at this because I've done like 100 videos thus far, and I refuse to post them. But this is take a look as to why I didn't post the generational blessings. Hey everyone, welcome to Bubbles and Sauce. I am Angie, and I'm hoping that this video meets you in a very good place. Today I just want to give everybody an update on how the channel is progressing. I did do the generational blessings cooking tutorial. However, I'm not too pleased with the overall aesthetics of the videos. I don't have the proper equipment, unfortunately. And so for me, it's all about presentation. And currently, I just don't have the proper surroundings or the equipment in order to give you the type of cooking tutorials and or self-care tutorials I think my audience deserves. However, okay, so now that that is out of the way, I want to talk about what the thumbnail is all about, and that is this uh, the gender war. And I want to give you my point of view, my take on it, and where I noticed that Afro American men decided to shoot the first shot. This is coming from a Afro American female's perspective, so allow me to have that. I'll try to be as fair and balanced as I can be. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this gender war thing. For me, my first recollection of the gender war started when I was a little girl, actually. There was a show called The Battle of the Sexes back in the 80s, maybe the early 80s. And the show, it had white men and white women going at each other, but it was like a fun kind of campy kind of show. There was no malice attached to it whatsoever. So that was my first recollection of there being like some type of battle going on. And like I said, my first recollection of it is between white men and white women. They had songs like, anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. That would be the woman. And then the man would come in and say, no, you can't. And she'd say, yes, I can. And he said, no, you can't. And she said, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And in their ads, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never, never, never let you forget you're the man. Because I'm a... That wasn't really a gender war type thing, but it was more or less women beginning to assert themselves that, yeah, they're bacon bringers too. So and again, those messages were primarily coming out of white America. I really didn't hear too much coming out of Black America. I was hearing things like this growing up. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. No romance without finance. So that's what Black women back in the 80s, the early 80s, that disco era was singing about. That was, my earliest recollection of like this anthem. Oh, and how could I forget? First I was afraid, I was petrified, just thinking I could never leave without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights just thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong. And I learned how to get along, and now you're back from outer space. I just walked in and, yeah. So I remember that as this, how dare you hurt me type music. But there was never any I can't recall any competitiveness, I can do it better than you, type of music coming out of Black America. It was more like, woe is me, you hurt me, or things like that. And so the gender battle back in the day really wasn't attached to Black America. We were too busy holding up our fists in solidarity, or at least that's what I was raised, the atmosphere I was raised up in. And then came the internet, the era of the internet. And boy, oh boy, was that an eye-opener for me. I didn't realize how much anger from Black men I was going to be exposed to. I was in a bubble up until the time I got on the internet. Now, before the internet, I must say that, of course, misogyny was running rampant throughout rap music and the rap culture. I really can't remember any, there was a rap battle between Roxanne, Shantae, and I think it was the Get Fresh crew. And she did that. Yeah, she did that. But that was more or less Roxanne defending her honor against them coming for her. Right? I think it was the Get Fresh crew. I'm not sure. I have to look it up. If I find it, then I'll post the name of the group that she went up against. And I'm trying to recall other female-led rap groups that may have asserted themselves in certain ways. Who comes to mind right now is Salt and Pepper. Express yourself. Gotta be you and only you, babe. Express yourself and let me be me. Express yourself. Don't tell me what I cannot do, baby. Come on and work that body. Now that was a good. I cut up a rug on that song. That was a good one right there. And who you calling up? It's UNITY. UNITY. That's a unity. UNITY. I'm a black girl. Come on now, Queen, the Queen herself, right? So again, black women, there were some black women who did assert themselves in music. Of course, I'm not going to go down the long list. There's a list, but it was never at this, I don't remember them like singing about niggas ain't nothing but hoes and tricks. I just don't recall that, and I could be wrong. So if there's anybody who can, So that was the onset of it off of the internet. Now, by the time I reached the internet, my first whiff of it was on a site called blackvoices.com. It was in the early 2000s. And that was an eye-opening experience for me on that site. I used to kind of be in the celebrity section because I was, all up in their business, not worrying about mine. And so my first inkling that there was an issue within the sexes between black men and black women was I had came across a contributor, a blogger, who put on that site that he had an issue with Fantasia. At that time, she had made a song called B-A-B-Y. This goes out to all my baby mamas. This goes out to all my baby mama. Now, at face value, I thought that was an innocent song, uplifting and empowering women who found themselves in the predicament of being a single mother. It's not an easy place to find yourself in. And I don't think that she meant it to be anything but that. However, black men in particular took it as a slight. And I was like, okay, what's this all about? And I began to read and they were railing against Fantasia hard with that song. And don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to come away from this video thinking. What I meant to say was I don't believe that a single parent household is ideal for children. But I am acknowledging that it is a reality for many of us. Whether you're a single mom or a single dad, it is a reality. And I think that single parents need support too. And I don't think that song was a harm. Anyway, for me, that was the beginnings of where I saw this rift between black men and black women, because black men, they had their say, and then black women we had our say about the situation, and it was getting rather interesting, to say the least. It was a rather interesting exchange to witness on that particular site, blackvoices.com. It no longer exists. It was quite entertaining to read, you know, what were on the hearts and the minds of people. But Black voices, for me, ushered in the reality of what was to come as it relates to the gender war. From Black voices, I found myself on this thing called YouTube. YouTube. And when I first got on to this platform, I gravitated towards the content that Black women, the majority of Black women, were putting out. Content creators like African Export. Her content is still up. However, she hasn't put anything up recently. So I hope that she's okay. African Export. There was another one who went by the name of Rustic Beauty. There was another one who went by the name of oh my goodness, there's so many of them. Some of them I'm still subscribed to this day. But back then in 2009, 2010, 2011, I was looking at the majority of videos like that. And women from all shades, all backgrounds, all shapes and sizes in the Afro-American community was contributing in content like how to handle your natural hair, which was, at the time, I was relatively a new natural, and I needed to know how to handle my coils. And so I gravitated toward, again, Rustic Beauty, African Export, and it was just a whole host of women contributing in that way. They contributed makeup tutorials, nail tutorials, and that was the majority of their content. And that's what kept me on. I stayed, right, learning from so many people. And I can remember, I remember, you know, in order for me, like on YouTube, all I had to do was type in natural hair, and all of these videos with Black women, my skin color, maybe a hue darker or lighter, were contributors in very meaningful ways. But then I typed in Black women. I wasn't ready. I really wasn't ready. I was not ready. I came across one of the first videos. I cannot remember what the title of the video was, but I remember his handle on YouTube was the mayor of Blacktown. I'm not sure if he's still contributing, but he was on here, and I can remember, like, when you clicked on the video, one of the first things I heard was Black woman. Black woman. And I was like, he told me. And I mean, he started just throwing a bunch of accusations at Black women, you know, blaming us for the reasons as to why the community as a whole was in the shape that it was in. I was like, listen, I'm just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents out of here in these streets. What the hell are you talking about, mister? I I did not know how to process what I was listening to. It was so hurtful, so inaccurate. Because from where I come, the women, the majority of the women that were in my circle, we weren't trying to tear down the community. We were trying to build ourselves. We were trying to survive in an atmosphere where the men abandoned us. And somehow or other, we're to blame for some stuff that we had no real control over. We don't have that kind of power. I know I don't. And I know many of the women that I know don't. So I came across him first. He was one of the earliest that I came across. And then I came across a Sergeant Willie Pete. And his channel inspired one of his viewers to go out and enact a heinous crime against an innocent content creator who went by the name of Asia McGowan, a beautiful young black woman who was cut down too early. And you would think that after something like that had taken place, that black men would come to a screeching halt and reassess how they're delivering their message when it comes down to the opposite sex. But they didn't. They didn't. In fact, out came somebody who went by the name of a Tommy Sotomayor. He made so much money off of disparaging the image of black women. Nonetheless, it went from Tommy Sotomayor to, it seems like, a whole slew of men. There was the manosphere, the black manosphere, the pickup artist kind of sphere, and all of them teaching men how to prey upon the innocence of women. Categorizing women. Very hurtful. Very hurtful indeed. And off of the heels of Tommy Sotomayor, right? Again, there were a whole host in between. But those who made a real bag off of it, I'm going to touch on, because I could name the names, but I'm not going to. Then there was Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul. And when he first came out on the scene, his angle was to encourage black men in particular to get their hygiene up, get into wearing cologne, get into dressing better, look the part to steal a woman's heart or to get into a woman's heart, basically, right? That was the beginning and also the end. What he found out rather quickly was, in order to reach the type of success he was looking for, that would get him into financial stability, he would have to get on the black woman haters train. And that he did. And rich he got. That was such an eye-opener for me. For me, it begs the question, are black women hated so much that men are willing to make a man who spreads hatred about black women, who was perfectly fine with subjugating black women, that they would make him a rich man? And don't get me wrong, I do believe that Kevin Samuels, Tommy Sotomayor, Tommy Sotomayor, and all the rest of them that I mentioned, they deserve to have a voice. Don't get me wrong. Be right back. So, as I was saying, I do believe that men should have a voice. They should have a platform where they can air out their grievances, because they're human and they're experiencing life just like we are, women. I just feel as though it could be done a bit more responsibly, because there are those of us living in the real world that is being affected by it in some capacity. To add insult to injury, some of the men that I've mentioned all have daughters. So now I'm starting to see the pushback. Equally as vile, equally as ugly, equally as hurtful. The things I'm hearing black women say about black men for the world to hear, I wouldn't dream of it. It's almost like as you can see, I'm at a loss for words. It is equally as hurtful and concerning. Some of these content creators will use science to back up their rhetoric. That is a dangerous road that they are taking. My take on this gender war needs to stop. Touch on how the gender war has affected me in one capacity or another. And then I met someone who was an avid, or he is an avid Kevin Samuels follower. And he would do things, instigate disagreements between us. And then when I would voice my opinion or object to what it is that he was saying, all of a sudden now I'm masculine. Masculine. Me. Now, I could be many things. I can be pudgy. I can be disagreeable. But masculine? No. I can be opinionated for sure. I can be loving and generous too. But masculine, I could never be. I could never be. But he was getting a lot of his talking points from the sphere. And I realized that men are coming at me in ways in which they want to engage or establish some kind of hostile environment. I'm not playing those games. I'd leave you alone first. I'm not going to play that game. So I am choosing to be single. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a heterosexual woman. I love to hear a man's voice. And so from time to time, I'll get up on a dating app and I will talk to a gentleman. I'll listen to his voice. I'll laugh, make a couple of jokes, share stories and things like that. But that's as far as it goes. I'm not interested in meeting any men at this point. I'll let the young women figure it out, child. Y'all got some work to do. Mm-hmm. That's how it has affected me in my dating world. I don't know how the gender war is affecting men. It'd be nice if they would contribute, let me know how they're faring in the dating arena. What's it like for them? And what have you. But before I go, I wanna leave my viewers with this word of wisdom. Words of wisdom. Be mindful of the company you keep. That goes for men and women on this site, on this platform. Be very mindful of the content you consume. Be mindful of the people you allow into your eye. Be mindful of that. Learn how to build yourself. And you judge for yourself the character and the caliber of the people that you allow into your circle. That goes for both men and women. And you'll know who they are when they open their mouths and by the actions they display. And when they tell you who they are, believe them. And if they fool you once, shame on them. And if they fool you twice, that's shame on you. Don't lay down again and let somebody roll up over you. We've all been fooled once. Don't let them do it again. Don't allow it. This is my point of view coming from a Black female heterosexual New Yorker. I'm sure I probably missed a few points that I wanted to touch on, but I tend to just kind of do things organically. And so, if there's a particular something you want to touch on, something you feel as though I missed out, please feel free to make a comment. I look forward to engaging with you guys. Come on, tell me something. All people are welcome, men and women. Let's get the discussion rolling. All right. I'm wishing you love, light, peace, and joy. Until next time.
Dump in the jump for the shit. All top when I speak, all cap with the speech till they caught up in the rapture. I'm so out of line with the phrase game. Let's take a break, been a long day. Hit your line, what you fall through with the light sticks. Maybe help me spark the ideas. We got nowhere else to go, it's only up from there. I've been on my own, just running through the field. Say vivid for the ears, I know that's how they like it. Yeah, I fantasize it. Tell me that it's real when it's all said and done. I said it how I feel it. I let them hear the fear of a passive aggressive angry black man with a passion. Steady grip when I shoot to the stars with a full clip. Jotting line with the loose leaf, then I proofread till I lose sleep. Couldn't handle the truth in your bed with the writing. Love at first sight shit, art over hype shit. Need a sound bite for the time capsule. Press play, they pause time for a bit. Smitten, I admit it, could they kick it? I'm in love with the fine print. Scribble type of shit they wouldn't find behind it. Why there's visions behind the eyelid? Tell a reckless with the clauses. Careful with the cost me. Need this shit forever, but I never ever stop until they put me in the coffin or they off me. Fuck niggas quick to auction, they false print. Always read the shit with a caution. Hold it 10 toes down for the dogs, you can see the paw print. Searching for the answers in the bottom of the last strip of the handle. The beginning of the candle. Doing shit to myself, give me fears when I'm looking in the mirror. I'm seeing somebody else, yeah. Mi corazón is on my sleeve shoulder. Everything on the rose gold, admire the glow from me. I couldn't pinpoint on the globe, that's why I wanted to go from it. Just know that I don't fit in, but I wanna feel everything, yeah, everything, yeah. Everything, yeah, everything, yeah. Everything, yeah, everything, yeah. Everything, yeah, everything, yeah. I got my eyes low with the sky flows, where the rhyme floats, I don't really know just what we might go with the mind scope. So many things I never learned with my eyes closed. Too busy with the schemes, on the telling of my dreams. On the rail, bitch, I grind like my life's on the line, hella wire. So fall through with the light sticks. We open up when the light flicks. On sight, yellow cash rolls, everything around.